I'm gonna keep working on that. I still got a lot of work. Like I'm working on the trees right now. So, but that's that. So let's get to some hair. Gonna open Pinterest back up. So let's just start with the head first. One thing that I've noticed that helps me is, when learning anything, is teaching what I've learned. So in a classroom setting, a lot of times I would ask a question about something that they were teaching in different words than they phrased it, and that just kind of cemented the idea for me, like putting it in my own words. And one thing that in one of my interpersonal communications classes, I found out that there was a lot of kids, or I shouldn't say kids, there was adults in the class too. So there was a lot of people that said, by me asking those questions, it helped them. It helped them a lot, like, because they didn't understand the teacher, and she wasn't using. I wouldn't say that she was using a lot of jargon or anything, but just sometimes, it's easier for somebody to pick up from somebody else, not the teacher. There's a lot of people that just don't mesh well with the way a teacher teaches. And so, like, I've always asked these questions to kind of cement my own thinking, and it's also helped me teach other people. And then so, like, I'm getting like double the benefit there. And so a lot of times after class, kids would come to me and ask me about these things and have me explain it to them, because I was able to put it in different terms than the teacher. I love this cup. It's Winnie the Pooh. It's like a little, it's the shape that I like, really. It says a little tea with your honey. So that's something that I learned when I was in college. And so now I figured that streaming would help me get better with my art, and I could probably, maybe put some things in some terms that maybe would help other people understand and learn. Because I'm self-taught, and even in school, I took a lot of online classes, and which means you're basically self-teaching. I mean, they give you the curriculum up front, and they give you what you have to do each week, but if you don't have a classroom to go into and no teacher to watch over you, you're teaching yourself, and you're reading from the book and using other resources to help you learn. So I've found success in self-teaching with other things. Alright, so that's a head. My heads need a lot of work too. I need lots of work in everything. So as a teacher, I'd say my knowledge is very low. Basically, like I had mentioned, I watch Ink One, and he kind of motivated me to get really push myself in my drawing, because I had been drawing since somebody asked me how long I've been drawing, like, seriously, and I think it was the end of March of 2013 is when I started my previous sketchbook. And in that sketchbook, I found that, not that I found, but, so, what was I saying? Oh yeah, so in that sketchbook, that's when I started sketching, and I was doing a lot of gestures and trying to get used to the human form, and trying to get my what is it called? Not anatomy. What word am I looking for here? This is the thing, is a lot of this stuff is different, new terms for me, and So I'm trying to remember what they are. But basically, proportions. That's what it is. Proportions. So I was trying to figure out proportions, which proportions get me still. Like, I have a hard time figuring out where this ear should be, and especially in like 3/4 views. Like, I'm getting better on the straight on view. Oh, I can't move too fast. That's why the camera's getting all, because I'm moving a lot. And so basically, let's do that. And kind of do this. And then we'll come down this way. Like, this doesn't, I'm not liking how this looks at all. But we want to finish. Always finish. That's a Seahawks motto. Always finish football. So what was I saying again? Oh yeah, so I started doing that stuff, but it was kind of like mindless drawing. Like, I was working on something, but I wasn't asking myself, why am I doing this? And then like here, like, what I want to see on here is there needs to be more curve up front. So like, this should come forward and then come backwards. See, I was just following the head back, which makes it seem flat. But if you don't come up a little bit and then bring it back, it doesn't give it that poof in the hair. And this is just me self-analyzing myself. But anyway, so like the first year, maybe year and a half of drawing, would in the last 2 years, because I've always drawn. My cousin used to draw, and he tried to help me a little bit, but he didn't help me a lot. He kind of, I remember the first thing he told me to do was he drew half a face. And then he was like, all right, now now you draw the other half. And that was kind of the thing that he showed me. And that wasn't, I think at the time, that wasn't the advice that I needed. I needed different advice. I needed more help. I needed to understand the basics. I needed to understand anatomy and poses and just everything else. Like, and I probably should have been working on more pencil control and stuff like that. So I started drawing then, and I used to draw. I picked it up off and on, and then in middle school I took, I think, 2 art classes, but they were like general arts, so it wasn't just drawing. I think there was some painting and some clay stuff, and just general art stuff. And then I did it again in high school. I took 1 semester of art, and that had a lot more drawing in it. It might even have been a sketching class, a drawing class, like drawing 1 or something. And there was a lot of drawing in that. And that's where my first sketchbook came from. And there was a lot of, I don't like the way this looks at all. Actually, now that I remember, it wasn't a sketching class because I did some pastel. I have a pastel drawing, and that's uploaded somewhere, and you can look at that. But I look at that and it's good. Like, I'm like, oh man, I did this. This is good. But then I look at it and I'm like, this leg is off, and I have it hanging up over here. I don't want to move the cameras because then it gets all messed up, and then I got to redo it. But yeah, see, like here, it's just ugly. It doesn't seem to be flowing correctly for me. So maybe that's a problem that I have with streaming too. Is my brother has 2 dogs, and I live across the street from a train station, and down the road is the train yard. So we get like the freight trains. We get trains that are running from, I think they go up to Canada and then all the way down to California, and then we have the trains going from like Seattle to Tacoma. So, and I'm in between there, and basically, so like those are the commuter trains. So like so I have to deal with transporter trains, freight trains, I mean, commuting trains, and like long distance travel, which isn't really long, but and then dogs, and our neighbors have dogs. So like there's just constant noise. So streaming for me has been tough. Like it's something that I've been wanting to do, but like my biggest worry is like, well, people are gonna bug me and there's gonna be noises and stuff. But I'm just gonna do it, and then if my family needs me to do something, then I'll just stop stream, go and do that, and then if I have time, I'll come back and do some more. But usually I'm shooting for like a half hour to an hour of streaming, and then from there we'll just kind of see how things go. We have a garage, but I'm very skeptical about putting my computer equipment back there, especially when I get a new one, because it's a very leaky garage. And I had thought about going out there and doing streams and stuff, because then I'm all by myself, and the only thing I got to worry about is when the dogs come outside and the train, which that's not a big deal. I mean, that's going to happen regardless. I can't stop a train. So yeah, that's kind of like how my streaming is right now, is just it's kind of everywhere. I'm looking to actually start streaming probably about this time, maybe a little bit earlier, maybe an hour earlier, which is 3 o'clock Pacific time. And I'm just looking to get better at art in general, sketching, drawing. I think my end goal is animation. I haven't even tried any animation stuff yet. I know Adobe is pretty much the industry standard when it comes to software, whether it be Photoshop or Illustrator. I don't know what their animation program is. I can't think of what it's called. Anyway, so when I get my new computer, then my next goal will be to get Adobe Creative Cloud, and I'm just gonna play around with that stuff. My background with software is I've used Paint.net, GIMP, and Sony Vegas, and then I've used Premiere and After Effects a little bit. I did a short film back in April is when it aired. It was for a contest, and my friend wants to get into making movies, and so one of our other friends had said, hey, you guys interested in doing this? And she showed it to us on Facebook, and we were like, yeah, let's go to this little free luncheon, get some free lunch, and see what they have to say. Maybe we'll do it. And we ended up doing it, and it was fun. Scheduling is crazy with that. We used just when you're dealing with actors that are trying to work a job and do other stuff, other movies or film or whatever, feature films and short films, and scheduling becomes a big issue. And I think that's one of the big, like, especially after that, like, it was a fun experience, but I think that definitely, that experience has kind of pushed me towards more of a, oops, we want this up forward more, and then this will be the wrap around. Pushed me towards animation more, because it's something that I can do with a small team, like over and over again. Like if I got like 2 or 3 other friends that were interested in drawing and stuff, it's something that just a small team can do successfully, I think. And with making film, I think it takes a lot more to get into, and which is fine. But I've always been into cartoons, comics. I'm just a big kid, and those are the things that that I'm kind of interested in. Like I think that animation, there's stories that I want to tell. I really like the style that of Murdoch XCOM. I know that I'm kind of talking about a lot of streamers, but like really seriously, like Bob Ross was big for me, because like I started following these streamers, and then I found Ink One. I started watching the Adobe stream, and Ink One was